Now, this may surprise you, especially considering the title of the video, but I wasn't a big fan of Joker. Don't worry, I didn't hate it. I don't think it's the death of cinema. It didn't break my heart or anything like that. There was a lot of stuff I liked about it. Phoenix is great. As expected, his performance is what holds the movie together. I never once thought I was watching Joaquin Phoenix act like a crazy person, act like the Joker. I just saw Arthur Fleck. I saw this version of the Joker. And those are my favorite kind of performances, the ones where the actor stops seeming like an actor and starts feeling like the character he is portraying. The rest of the supporting cast is great too. I was super happy to see that Robert De Niro didn't phone it in. He showed up to play, and it shows. It's not a Silver Linings Playbook performance or anything, but it's definitely not a dirty grandpa performance.
I haven't had sex in 15 years, Jason, and I want to
Without getting into heavy spoilers, his scene with Arthur, the big scene, is the most important one in the film, and it wouldn't work unless both actors were giving it their all, and luckily, they are. The score by Hildur, I don't want to even attempt to pronounce her name and then mispronounce it because that's just disrespectful and rude, but goddamn, her work in this film is brilliant. It's a haunting score that keeps building and building as Arthur descends further and further into insanity. While I was watching the movie, I kept thinking how these scenes would play out without her score and the way it's utilized, and I don't think Joker would have nearly the impact it does if it wasn't for that score. Lawrence Sherr's cinematography was definitely my favorite thing about the film. The cinematography was crisp and stunning like the trailer would lead you to believe. I've been begging for Cape Flicks to start implementing more visual storytelling, using the camera as a character as a way into the heads of our characters, and Joker does exactly that. Each and every shot is beautiful, but more importantly, it's purposeful. I never questioned why I was seeing the story play out from this camera angle, why Phillips and Sher were shooting a scene this way. It was all in service of connecting us to Arthur, giving us his perspective and his outlook on this dirty, disgusting, super rat-infested Gotham City. Speaking of Gotham City, I love the set design. I love the piles of trash in every exterior shot, and I love the dirty, creepy, crammed, and crowded interiors. Arthur's apartment, Arkham State Hospital, the comedy club, the clown workplace are all claustrophobic. Arthur feels overlooked and stepped on by Gotham, by society, by the people, and that is all visually conveyed through the cinematography and through the set design. So yeah, I liked plenty of things about Joker. I pretty much loved all the aesthetic choices. Film is a visual medium, so that's half the battle. What I really didn't like, was the script and story Joker chose to tell. If you've seen any one of the numerous movies about a mentally ill loner mixed in with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash, then you know exactly what you're going to get. It doesn't do anything new, it doesn't tell anything new, and I don't really think it's trying to. The dialogue is very on the nose, very stilted, and that may work for some, and if it does, that's great, man. You love what you love. It didn't feel real to me. It didn't feel true. Every time Arthur gets beat up or knocked down, and he gets beat down and knocked down a lot, seemed like the most cliche version of that situation. Every time he talked to his social worker, it was the exact conversation you would imagine would take place between a woman who doesn't care about the people the city is asking her to help and a self-pitying, ostracized loner. I feel like I had seen this all before, every scenario, every twist, every act of violence. Nothing was fresh about the story, the dialogue. The only thing that made it stand out for me was its connection to the Batman mythos. The fact that this film was about the iconic villain and gave a semi-definitive origin to a character who is all about multiple choice origins. Without the Joker's skin the film wears, I don't think we would be talking about this movie like we are. I think if it was an independent movie about an original character, it would be considered stale. I think director Todd Philips wanted to make his Taxi Driver, his movie, his character study set in the 80s about loneliness and having empathy for the mentally ill and having empathy for the lonely. I think he wanted to make that movie and make it with Joaquin Phoenix. But most importantly, I think he wanted people to see it, to discuss it, to manufacture controversy over it, so he made it a Joker movie. The sad and harsh reality of the film industry at the moment is that the general audience doesn't care about stories about mentally ill loners. They care about stories about the Joker. I literally described to Joaquin at one point in those 3 months as like, look at this as a way to sneak a real movie into the studio system under the guise of a comic book film. And honestly, I don't think that's a problem. I'm glad people who wouldn't usually see this kind of movie are seeing it. Hopefully it gets them to go back home and watch these kind of films, more character-driven films. That's a great thing, and that's where the miracle element comes into play. I didn't love Joker, but that doesn't fucking matter. I'm just happy this movie freaking exists. I'm happy a director went to WB, a billion-dollar studio, and was like, hey, let's make this hard R-rated Joker movie, and they let him. They actually let the madman do it. I don't care if you love this movie or hated this movie, but Joker is good for cinema, and it's especially good for the state of comic book movies. I'm always ranting, and I mean ranting, about how I want these studios to let directors use these comic book characters and tell the stories they want to tell without being fucked with. I would rather see 400 Jokers get made than ever watch another Ant-Man and the Wasp or Far From Home or Justice League. That's why I'm so excited for Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 84, James Gunn's Suicide Squad, and Matt Reeves' Batman. DC and WB have finally found a way to compete with the mouse, and that's by doing the exact opposite of them. Instead of a million CG effects in a shared universe with similar looking and feeling movies, we are getting lower budget director driven movies that have the freedom to take risks, to go for it, to go freaking nuts.
Lights out! Now you want to get nuts? Come on! Let's get nuts.
And that's where DC movies have almost always succeeded, in getting these visionaries to tell their stories. Donner's Superman was like nothing else at the time. Burton's Batman was like nothing else at the time. Nolan's Batman was like nothing else at the time. Hell, even their films that I very much dislike were like nothing else at the time. If I told you 4 years ago that an R-rated Joker movie without Batman set in the 80s, directed by the dude who did the Hangover trilogy, was going to be released by the same studio that chopped up Justice League in an attempt to make it more like the Avengers and butchered Suicide Squad to be a Hot Topic commercial, you would have slapped me and told me I was a goddamn clown. But it happened. It really happened, and I couldn't be happier. I may have not liked Joker, but don't for a second think that Joker isn't an important movie. The success of Joker means the doors have been opened, or rather reopened. Hollywood has now seen that insane, ridiculous, and risky interpretations of these beloved characters can work. They can work and make money. I want more. I want every comic book movie to be made by filmmakers and not made by committee, not made in a producer's office, but made in the mind of a storyteller. And that's what I think we're going to get. And that's why Joker is a miracle. We talked a lot about clowns and about society today, which is why I'd like to thank the sponsor of this video, NordVPN. A VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and it secures your internet traffic, encrypts it, and routes it through a remote server while changing your original IP address, which will protect your data from any clowns trying to view it. All your personal information is encrypted and all your data is anonymous. Without using a VPN like NordVPN, a hacker, a real joker, can track what you're doing and view your personal information such as your credit card details, which is a big fat no-no in my book. You may think you're fine, that nobody wants to steal your information, but trust me, there are always people who want to steal your information. I'm paranoid. I'm a guy who wants my private information to remain private, especially stuff like my credit card details. So I've been using NordVPN for over a year. I'm legit a paying customer and a big fan. Right now, NordVPN has a 70% off sale when you use the code HiTop. Plus, you'll receive 1 additional month for free. It's a win-win. I'm also a guy who likes to stream movies, TV shows, all that jazz. Want to watch content that isn't available in your country? With NordVPN, you can connect to one of over 5,500 blazing fast servers in over 60 countries. So you can watch the content you want whenever you want. So what are you waiting for? I'm not joking around. Don't be a clown. Click that special link in the description. Use that code HiTop. Get 70% off and start protecting your information and watching whatever the hell you want to watch with NordVPN today.